Tallahassee. I'm so glad you've come to fill the gap in. We only have 11 days left of Christmas carol singing until Christmas. So we're going to start our service with a Christmas carol. Hark the Herald Angels Sing, 274. Singing with full gusto. And then I want to take this opportunity to remind you this is a commercial. The concert is during the service time next week, our Christmas concert. The choir will be singing. We'll have duets and solos, and Jimmy and Lisa are going to come and share some Christmas songs. So make sure you are here. Tell your friends, family. We need to fill the chairs and have to pull in more. Okay? Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King, peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all the nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace, hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, with sealing in his wings. While he lays glory by, born that man no more should die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Good morning. We're so grateful that all of you have come to share your presence here at Unity of Tallahassee. Will you please join us to say the opening statement? It is in your bulletin if you need it. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotence. And before we have the daily word, I would like to introduce the speaker. So, his name is Dr. Will Tuttle. He is a composer, pianist, educator, and author of an internationally best-selling book called The World Peace Diet. He is devoted to providing uplifting and healing music and to helping people awaken their inner wisdom and genius. He has a PhD in education from the University of California in Berkeley, and it focuses on educating intuition. He taught college courses in philosophy, humanities, mythology, creativity, and comparative religion. He's a former Zen monk and Dharma master in the Korean Zen tradition. Currently conducting music, art, and education ministry with his wife Madeline, a visionary artist from Switzerland. Madeline specializes in painting that celebrates the beauty of animals and nature. She is also a flutist and Waldorf teacher. They travel and provide lectures, concerts, and workshops throughout North America and worldwide, inspiring art prints, cards, books, CDs of original piano music, and individual sessions of personalized music and art portraits. I would like to also remind everyone that after the service, there will be a workshop. There will be refreshments so that people can enjoy with their full bellies. And I'm going to invite Will to go play his piano for us.
Daily word?
He would like to do. You'll be right after the daily word, so you can get prepared. Yes, please. All right, Brenda, come and join me, please. We're going to do the Advent wreath, and this is the third week of Advent, and it is the word love. I receive love graciously and reflect it to the whole world. Asked to tell the Christmas story in their own words, fifth graders at a church shared the basic version that we all know from hymns and pages of the Bible: Mary and Joseph, a donkey, angels, stars, stables, kings, shepherds, and of course the baby Jesus. As they talk about characters, one student noted that under normal conditions, kings and shepherds do not hang out. What that means for us, they say, is that the birth Jesus taught that we should love everyone: black, white, brown, rich, poor, cool, nerdy, gay, straight, questioning, Democrat, Republican. At the core, they say, we are in God's love. There is an incredible sense of power and freedom in both giving and receiving love without condition or expectation. The experience that we can so profoundly share is that love, giving and receiving of it.
And the word for today is love. The affirmation is, I give and receive love with gratitude and joy. This Advent season, I turn my attention to the myriad ways love expresses within and all around me. I feel called to share blessings of love with people in all circumstances and receive their blessings of love in kind. I may join in festive celebrations, sharing cheer and fellowship with friends and colleagues. I practice patience and understanding, especially during moments of frustration as I go about my Christmas preparations. I feel compassion for those who struggle during the holidays and reach out to them with support and caring. These are some of the ways I show love to others. When I receive their time, attention, and gifts with gratitude, I am letting them show their love to me. And from John 13:34, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. So I'll repeat the affirmation, and then you can say it with me. I give and receive love with gratitude and joy. Together? I give and receive love with gratitude and joy. Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and play a short piece of original piano music. And this is one that I composed quite a few years ago. It's called Dance for the Arctic Moon. And it's dedicated to the sacred feminine dimension of consciousness. Of the four directions, the north is the direction of going within, and the moon represents the feminine dimension of consciousness, which is opening to the higher wisdom that's within all of us, the inner Christ presence. So I'd like to just dedicate this to the healing of all of our relations during the holiday season, and invite you to let the music take you on an inner journey. So enjoy. This is Dance for the Arctic Moon. Enjoy.
Okay, everybody, it's that time in our service where we get up and say hello to everyone. So give a handshake, give a hug, go say hello to everyone.
But their stuff is so good. I have some dresses that I bought 15 years ago. And it's still picked up. Really. Something to be said for that.
We can mingle more after the service if everyone would be willing to take. No.
No, I was thinking about you the other day.
All right, we're going to bless the children on their way to class. If you please sit back down. All right, rub your hands together, let's get that energy, and we're going to bless these children. You are loved, special, and important to us. All right, before I say these announcements, I feel like we could all benefit from some deep breaths. So let's do 3. Here we go. In. Again. And make sure you do the 3rd one. First of all, is there anyone visiting for the first time today? Woo woo! We would like to give you a packet of information. Maxine will bring it around, all about unity. And thanks for being here. We do have choir rehearsal tomorrow at 7 o'clock, right here in the sanctuary, if anyone is interested. Maxine and the board and I would love to appreciate and let everyone know we are so grateful for all of your generosity, for supporting the Christmas Connection family. We wrapped like crazy yesterday, and they will get delivered the gifts today. And it's just amazing mountain of gifts we get to give them. Okay, make sure that you stay today for the opening intuitive gate with Dr. Will Tuttle and Madeline. If you need more information, you can just chit-chat and ask them real quick before you decide. All right, and next week is our Christmas concert. Different this year during the service. When you're done enjoying all the awesome music, there will be potluck, so everybody participate and stay for the potluck. Put that on your calendar for sure. Make sure you look through the flash that we send each Wednesday and in your bulletin. Lots and lots of announcements in there. And on the back table, make sure you notice all of the things that you are welcome to take any of. Prayer request boxes there also for you to fill out forms. Put your prayer request in there. Donations for Grace Mission box is still outside there where you can participate in donating items. And there is a sacred service book in the cafe. If you would like to peruse through there and put your name on the list, we could use some help in the communication team and the audiovisual team, besides the other ones that are offered. And if you have any questions about those, what do you do? Don is your man to ask. Does anyone have any other announcement that may have gotten forgotten? Alrighty, well, we're going to have meditation music with Will.
All right, so I'd like to actually go ahead into our meditation directly. So let's get comfortable in our seats. With every exhalation now, we just relax. Into this space of love, into this sanctuary. With every breath, we connect with this present moment, allowing ourselves to let go of whatever it took to get here this morning, and becoming fully present in this present moment. The only holy moment is right now. And we give thanks for this precious opportunity that we have to be here in this beautiful sanctuary, knowing that this outer sanctuary is a manifestation of the inner sanctuary, where we dwell always in unity with the infinite love that is the source of all life. And we give thanks for all of the teachers in our life. Who have brought us into this moment in our evolution, spiritually. We give thanks for all of the teachings of all the world's wisdom traditions that turn our minds away from the delusion of separateness to the truth of the infinite interconnectedness of all life. And that what we are was never born, will never die. What we are is infinite and eternal consciousness. And we give thanks also for this precious opportunity of a human life, this opportunity to grow in wisdom, compassion, to contribute our unique gifts. And we give thanks also for this beautiful earth, all the rivers and mountains and forests, the islands and lakes and streams, and all the animals celebrating their lives with us here, in the air, in the water, on the land. And we give thanks for the whole human family on our adventure together of awakening to the truth that we are. And we give thanks knowing that the light that shines at the very heart of the universe is shining right now in our heart, is shining in every cell of our being, is bringing every dimension of our life into harmony and into alignment with the truth that we are, and with the unique mission and purpose that we have for this lifetime. And we just allow the music now to open an inner doorway to directly connect more fully and completely with the truth that we are. And so now together we take a moment to enter into the silence, the source of all sound, of all music, of all songs, of all. So as we breathe together, we give thanks for the aspiration, the great yearning in our heart to awaken for the benefit of all living beings. We give thanks for this community, for all of our loved ones. We give thanks for the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of generosity and compassion, of loving kindness, of abundance, of truth, of joy and freedom, of the understanding that there is one life living through us all. May all beings be happy and at peace. May all beings be free. May we all awaken to the truth that we are, and realize the original brightness of our minds and hearts. And may we continue to work together to build a more enlightened society, a world that reflects the truth of the inner Christ spirit. Of loving kindness, of eternal love as the source of all life. We give thanks knowing this is so. And so it is. Thank you all for joining together in our meditation. I'd like to play a short piece one more time before we go into our message. And this is a piece called Benediction of Light. And so it's just a chance, from my point of view, to send out a benediction or a blessing to our loved ones and to the world, to our community, and just know that we are part of the awakening of human consciousness on this earth, that we can live our lives as we are intended to here, in harmony and peace and awareness. So this is Benediction of Light and Joy. Thank you. Good morning. Oops. Thank you all so much for joining us here. There we go. I think it's going to be my little leash here. So it's wonderful to be back here in Unity of Tallahassee. And I was looking in my computer on the schedule and realized that we've been here 5 times. This is our 6th time. We were here giving, the first time was back in 1991 with Julie Keene was the minister. Anybody here then? All right. Wow, we got some old timers. And then in 1995 with Sonny Stone. And then in 1997, in between ministers at that point, I think. And then 2004, and 2019 with Reverend Bill, and now again, 2025. And it's really fantastic, I think, to remember that we're, as Unity, we're part of a much larger movement. And Madeline and I have been really blessed to spend the last 35 years just traveling to Unity churches all over the United States, and worldwide, actually, Australia and Europe and all over the place. And realize that this is a movement that I think in many ways is one of the healthiest movements on our planet, in the sense that it's really based at a very profound level in the concept of inclusiveness. Everyone is welcome here. It's inclusive in that sense, and also it includes all the world's wisdom traditions. It doesn't say we have the one right answer and you got to believe this or you're not going to make it. There's this underlying connection with a sense of honoring the human heritage and our spiritual wisdom traditions. And my focus has mainly been over the years has been sort of Asian traditions, but I've also for quite a few years I taught college courses in comparative religion. I love all the religions. They all essentially agree on the main points: to love each other, the golden rule, love your neighbor as yourself, and the other big one is whatever you sow, so shall you reap, in body, speech, and mind. So the more we understand these teachings, I think, the better. But the underlying teaching also in all the world religions, as well as in Unity, is the idea that each one of us is responsible to connect with our own inner wisdom, what I refer to as our inner guidance system. Charles Fillmore is kind of famous for saying, we should go straight to headquarters, right? You know that? Go straight to headquarters. And I always think, gosh, he had it easy. All he had to do to go straight to headquarters was just ask Myrtle. And and I have it easy too. I can just ask Madeline. But everybody else, I don't know what you do. No, the basic idea really is that we have within us our intuitive wisdom, an inner guidance that we can learn to connect with and that can guide us to live our lives. And it doesn't mean that our life suddenly is easy and we can just have never any problems or any challenges anymore, but it does mean that we're living our life authentically, our unique life. And that basically connects us, I feel, with an inner wellspring of joy that we all have if we just drill deep enough into our own true nature, beyond the levels of whatever it is, fear and guilt and regret and this and that and the other. We get down to this eternal wellspring of joy that always bubbles at the core of our being, and it needs no reasons in the outer world at all. It's just our true nature. And that is available to us all the time. And I think especially when we are living our life, when we're connected with our own inner guidance system and we're facing the challenges and we're doing our best, but we're connected with that inner wisdom that guides us. And we can all do that. And I think that's really the core of the spiritual life in many ways, because when we come to this earth, we are indoctrinated. We're like a little sponge, and we just soak up everything, right? Their language becomes my language, their food becomes my food, their attitudes become my attitudes. The whole thing, we just take it all in. And one of the things we take in is the idea that we're this body, like this is what we are. We think, this is what we are. It's a great, 2 great sayings. One is from Krishnamurti. He says, it's not a good idea to be well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society. So, it's really important for us to question the official narratives in our society. And one of them is this I am the body idea, right? This thing. There's a kind of interesting thing in the Buddhist tradition. You know, when Buddhism first started, 500 BC or so, and they never had the idea of having a statue of the Buddha, right? That was not a concept. But they had several other symbols. One was a tree. He was, Buddha attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. So the tree is a profound symbol, actually. Another was the wheel, and another one was the footprint. And I really like the footprint because if you go to the beach and you're walking along the beach and you see a footprint in the sand, normally you wouldn't go up to the footprint and say, "Hey, good morning, how you doing?" That's just a footprint. It's not the being that made the footprint. This is a footprint waving, right? You cannot see me. You see a footprint. We see something, and we misidentify. We think this is it, and we look in the mirror and we look at our life and we wonder all these things. We have to realize what we are was never born and will never die. We express through a physical vehicle for a few decades, and as long as we identify just with this, it's very difficult to really attain and connect with our true nature and to be the light that we're intended to be. But once we understand at a deeper level, through quieting our mind, that's a big part of it, that we are the consciousness that makes this possible, then we can begin to connect with our inner guidance system, I think, more effectively. How many of you have some kind of a regular spiritual practice that you do on a daily basis? Good. I'd like to see everybody. It's really so important to have a regular practice of some kind where we just bring our mind and come into this moment. And I think the alternative to that, in a sense, is this understanding that we're all getting up in the morning, right? We're living our life, we're making decisions, we're going here, going there, whatever it is. We all have our life, and we're carrying out, right? We're carrying on and doing our life. So what is it that's propelling that? What is it that's actually creating the life that we're having as individuals? Where does it come from? I think it really comes from one of two fundamental places. Either we are following the program that we got from the time we were born, and we're just kind of fulfilling it out. My father told me I should do this if I wanted to be happy, and I should have this kind of a job and be this and so forth, and my mother and all the ads on TV, and we're bombarded with influences. And if we're basically a product of the influences, we could go to church every Sunday morning and all these things. But I would say there's no spirituality in that life, essentially. That's a life that's basically programmed. And it's inherently somewhat unsatisfactory because we're fulfilling expectations that probably are not ours. So to the degree that we actually begin to be guided by our own eternal true nature, then the spiritual life begins happening. And then we begin to, I think, connect with our purpose and our mission and the sense that we have a unique life here to live and unfold. And it's so fantastic when we have a community of people who are doing our best to do that and support each other in that. And I think everyone, if you found your way through the door here, you're already well on the way to questioning the official narratives in our society and to connecting with this inner guidance system, like Charles Fillmore said, going straight to headquarters, the truth of your own nature. So you all have a story, and that got you here. Madeline has a wonderful story, and I know all of you do, that to get here. I'll just say briefly my story, because I see I don't have that much time left before we wrap it up. Just briefly, I was born and raised in Concord, Massachusetts, back in the 1950s, and I remember growing up there, and it was kind of a neat place to grow up just because there was all this history, right? There was the Revolutionary War started there, and April 19th was the Patriots' Day, 1775. Hardly a man is now alive that remembers the famous day and year, the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. So I knew all of that, and we were into it, and every April 19th, my father would get the gun off the wall, dressed up in his Minuteman outfit. We'd all march down to the Old North Bridge. We would reenact the battle, send the British redcoats back to Boston, and celebrate the Revolution. And the whole idea is if we're living in a tyrannical situation, no, that's not going to work. We need to have freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and so forth. And then a little later in Concord, in the mid-1800s, there was another, more of a consciousness revolution. It was called Transcendentalism. the Transcendentalists were really the first ones to bring teachings from Asia into the United States. So Thoreau, for example, back in the mid-1800s, had the largest library of books on the Bhagavad Gita and the Tao Te Ching and Buddhism and so forth. And so I learned to swim in Walden Pond and went to Thoreau School and Alcott School and was born in Emerson Hospital, this whole thing. And I discovered later that Charles Fillmore and the whole unity movement in many ways came out of or was influenced by, in a very positive way, by the Transcendentalist movement and the spiritual healing, Christian Science, and all these different things kind of emerged out of this broadening, like the idea from the Taoist tradition of God as an infinite principle that we can learn to harmonize with, and then our life will be in accordance with something beyond just our little deluded self-nature. Or the idea from the Hindu tradition of God as equally female as male, which kind of opened things up a lot. Or the idea from the Buddhist tradition of God as this infinite mind that we can unfold in our own mind, our own consciousness. And so when I went away to college, I remember in the early 1970s, I started reading some of these books, and it just sort of created a revolution within myself. And by the time I was toward the end of my education at Colby College in Maine, I started to really feel that it would be important to not just go take over my father's business, which was a newspaper business. And so I read this one book that I want to just mention toward the end of that, which was called Cosmic Consciousness. I don't know if anyone's ever read that book, but it was written back in the 1890s by Richard Buck. And he said, basically, everybody's walking around here, we're in a state of self-consciousness. Our consciousness is kind of confined to somewhat of a prison of being a separate self, and we're trying to get what we want and keep away what we don't want, and we're interacting and negotiating this whole thing. But he said a few rare people had been able to escape out of this confinement, and they had attained what he called cosmic consciousness by their efforts. And they were people like Jesus and the Buddha and the great founders of religions and great sages and saints and mystics and poets. Both men and women through the ages had attained a higher level of consciousness and a tremendous sense of freedom and a love for all living beings. And they were no longer bound by this pettiness and so forth. So I remember thinking, that's it. That's really important. And the thing that was interesting was he said, it is the destiny of all human beings to attain cosmic consciousness. That's really our purpose here. And so I remember going home on the vacations and talking to my parents and saying, Mom, Dad, you know about cosmic consciousness, right? That's why we're here. We're not just here to make money and trying to all that kind of stuff. And I remember my father saying, well, actually, this education is costing me quite a bit of money. And I don't know how this is going to help you get ahead in the world. But on the other hand, he had taught me to play the piano, and my mother was an artist, so they had some understanding of this. But my younger brother, Ed, to my delight, when I told him about cosmic consciousness, he said, yes, that's it. That's what we need to do. And I said, yeah, let's do it. So we talked to my parents about it right after I graduated from college. And they said, all right, so what are you going to do? And so we said, what we're going to do is what are we going to do? And then we thought, and we talked to each other, and then we hit on it. We knew there is one thing you cannot go wrong. Definitely attain cosmic consciousness if you do this one thing, and that was we'll go to California. So we thought if we went to California, it was 1975. San Francisco was really happening, and we thought that's what we'll do. But we didn't want to just simply drive there or fly or whatever. We thought we'll walk there. And we'll make it into a meditation walk. And like the sadhus of India, we'll just meditate and walk west. And so, and we wouldn't bring any money, we just do it. And so we left in September, I remember, and so after about 3 or 4 weeks, we had gotten as far as Buffalo. And in Buffalo, it was freezing in October, and I remember thinking, oh man, I've got a bachelor's degree from a pretty good school, I can figure it out. We better head south. So we started just walking south, and we walked about 15 or 20 miles a day, every day, from one little town to the next, and little tiny backcountry roads, all the way down through upstate New York into Pennsylvania, across Pennsylvania into West Virginia, And then we got into West Virginia. The very first day in West Virginia, we always stayed on, often anyway, we would stay on the floor of a church somewhere if we could just let us sleep there, and we'd go on the next morning. And they said, boys, you're in the Bible Belt. And I didn't know what that meant, but I found out. Okay. Anyway, we worked our way through West Virginia, the hills, and then we got into eastern Kentucky, into Appalachia. And we had really wonderful experiences. I mean, it was very interesting. There was a lot of times when we went a little bit hungry, but we never starved to death. And we kept going, and we kept meditating. And there was a teaching by Ramana Maharshi that we were following from India. He said that we should do a practice of self-inquiry, to just ask the question, who am I? And go deeper and deeper with that, to realize what we are. We're not our body. We're not our collection of thoughts and feelings and likes and dislikes and this whole cloud of collection that we are so proud of. What are we? So we kept working on that and going farther south and down into Tennessee, and we eventually ended up at the farm. And the farm in Tennessee at that point was about, 100 miles south of Nashville, and it was the largest hippie commune in the world at that time, and about 900 people, and they were all from California. So we thought, this is it, And we stayed there for a while, but then we felt drawn to go even farther south, and we ended up walking down to Alabama, and we ended up at a Zen, you probably don't believe me, but there was a Zen center in Alabama, and that was perfect. It was a Korean Zen center. And so we lived there for a while, and then I eventually got out to San Francisco about a year or two later, and I remember discovering first it was a Tibetan Buddhist meditation center, and then it was another Zen center. So I ended up shaving my head and becoming a Zen Buddhist monk in Korea back in the 1980s. And then eventually came back to this country and got my PhD at Berkeley and taught college courses in a whole bunch of different things. And then eventually left that, moved into a 1971 Volkswagen bus, and started traveling to Unity churches, because I discovered way back then, in the 80s, actually in the 70s, but in the 80s I discovered Unity, and I realized as I got deeper and deeper into the essence of the world wisdom traditions, that Unity really has a tremendous gift to give to our society. And it's a direct pointing at these teachings in a way that's available to us, and is inspiring and instructive. And so I just felt the more I can just help promote and support the Unity teachings, that's something really valuable. And so I just want to thank all of you, because I know if you're coming here and you're doing your best to understand these teachings and to live them and to propagate them and to share them, that's living a life well. That's a life well lived. All of us are here for just a few short decades. It flies by very quickly. They interviewed the oldest living human being a while ago, a woman from Japan who was 119 years old. And they said, gosh, you're 119 years old. What's it like to be the oldest human being on Earth? And she said, it goes by very quickly. So it does. And so every day is precious. Every day is a precious opportunity to learn, to grow, to contribute. We can be grateful for this precious human life, for the opportunity to hear these teachings, to contribute to this community, and to understand that what Charles and Myrtle Fillmore started is really a page in a much vaster library of wisdom. But when we understand it and live it, it opens up tremendous blessings for us, for our loved ones, and for everyone. And it all comes back to this inner wisdom that we have within us, our inner guidance system. So I'll just close with this final little teaching from the Buddhist tradition of the 3 jewels, which is the basic idea is that there's 3 jewels, and they are the precious essence, really, of the teaching. The Buddha is the first jewel. The Buddha represents what we would call in Unity the inner Christ. It's the divine, eternal self, and with a capital S, our true nature. And we can allow that to speak through us and so forth. The second jewel is the Dharma. And the Dharma basically is the teachings that help us to awaken the Buddha or the inner Christ. So the Buddha, the Dharma, and the third jewel is the Sangha. The Sangha is the community of people who are interested in awakening their true nature and propagating and sharing these teachings, the Dharma. And the Buddha said something interesting. He said, without the Sangha, there will be no Buddha and no Dharma. It's so important to understand that. We are products of our communities in many ways. So for us to contribute to and build a community based on the truth teachings of compassion and kindness for all living beings, on the abundant life that is for all of us, on the joy of our true nature and the freedom of spiritual awareness, and to not only talk about it, but to do our best to live it, then we are doing a great thing, really, for this whole society, which right now is being attacked by very divisive forces. So it's so important for us to do our best to live these teachings. So I want to just close by thanking my beautiful wife, Madeline. We've been now married 33 years. I have to say, the smartest thing I ever did, besides going vegan, was marrying my wonderful wife, Madeline. And these are her paintings up here. And together, I think all of us, we can continue, we can go forth and multiply this message in our lives. So again, I want to thank all of you and keep up the wonderful work you're doing. Hope to see you again another time. Bless you all. Thanks so much for all your efforts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It is time for the offering. So you can get your blessing and put it in your hand so we can all say the statement together. It is in your bulletin if you need it. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all I am, all I have, all I give, and all I receive. Thank you.
So while the baskets go around, I'll just play a short piece from silence. Enjoy.
Thank you to all the gifts and the givers, the tithes and the offerings and your talents and time that you give to Unity of Tallahassee. Amen.
All right, so we're going to be gathering for our peace song. Just want to remind everyone that right after we have a little bit of food in here, about 12:30, 12:45, we'll have our workshop right here, Madeline and I, called Opening the Intuitive Gate, the Keys to Developing Your Intuition. Albert Schweitzer said the key to happiness is good health and a short memory. And that's really an important thing, just to come into this present moment. So we'll be teaching some techniques of meditation and imagery, along with music and art, to help everyone who's attending connect with your own unique way of accessing your inner guidance system, your intuition. So please join us then if you can. Thanks again. See you then. Thanks.
All right, everybody, let's circle up.
So it is.